What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my list of the top 5 megas in Ultra Sun and Moon Draft League format. And I have spent a while thinking about it and making this PowerPoint, and I have ranked my top 5 favorite megas, and I'm gonna cover the list and start to talk about them in this video. And here is the evaluation method, and this is basically what I was thinking about when I was judging them here. And the first thing, these are all my opinions, and no two people will rank them the same, so you're not gonna have the same list as me. People may have the same top 5 list, but no two people are gonna look at two megas with the same value for the same reason. I guess it's both the beauty and the shame of humanity that no two people are exactly the same on any issue. We all have different opinions on everything. It's just how we're programmed. And comment your list down below. I'm actually genuinely very curious to see what you guys think. This is my list. It's by no means definitive, it's just what I think. And I really do want to see what you guys think, so please comment it down below, or even if you just, I don't know, maybe you have one favorite or something you want to comment, let me know. And I'm assuming that turn 1 mega is not mandated. A lot of leagues will force you to mega evolve with your mega on the first turn, and I'm assuming that's not the rule. Rules change value, different megas have different values depending on the rules, so that's definitely a little bit of a factor in this. I kind of had to just pick either megas mandated or not mandated to make this list based on it, just to simplify it. And I'm not counting frequently banned megas, and of course that includes things like Metagross and other crazy things like that, but mostly, practically, it just means Mawile and Latios, because I know you guys didn't come in this list expecting to see Metagross or anything like that. Mawile and Latios, they're starting to get more and more common to be allowed, but anything that's not consistently available, I thought it would be easier and just more prudent to leave them off this list. But definitely Mawile and Latios are great megas that I enjoy using. I've been using Mawile a lot in OU, and if you guys have been following my channel, you guys know that I've been using Latios quite a bit. And let's move on here. I already revealed it, so I'm not making suspense. Number 5. And number 5 on my list of the top 5 megas is Mega Medicham. And you can see its stats there. Mega Medicham is a fighting and psychic type with the ability Pure Power, which doubles its attack, and that's why you see the 100 scratched out. And 249 is there because when you factor in Pure Power, it's as if this Pokemon has 249 base attack, and this is I believe just behind Mawile as the most powerful Pokemon in existence for attack or special attack stat. And its stats, they're pretty respectable. Its bulk's not bad. Its speed, base 100, that's about average pretty much. It's not great, but it's not bad either, especially considering how much attack it has, and it's not too bad at all. It gains significantly in speed and attack from its non-mega version, which is very relevant for it, because of course those are definitely the two stats that are the most important for this thing. And let's move on here and talk about this thing a little bit more. Its strengths are its unrivaled power, or should I say only rivaled by Mawile. It has great typing. Psychic and fighting, they're not a bad defensive typing. You can take hits pretty well with that typing, but also fighting and psychic cover each other's resistances pretty well. i.e. psychic doesn't hit steel and dark, and fighting doesn't hit poison. With the other one, they definitely can hit those super effectively, and that's pretty nice for it. Strong priority. With its insane attack stat, the fake out plus bullet punch, that becomes pretty annoying to deal with. It doesn't have the best speed, but its strong priority helps to make up for that. You can potentially clean with some priority in the back, or at least wear things down in a big way. Medicham often can get forced out by Pokemon that are faster than it, so being able to fake them out, especially because fast Pokemon are usually very frail, so being able to fake them out, that makes it a lot better at dealing with fast Pokemon. And decent coverage. This Pokemon, its coverage isn't the best, but it's definitely not bad. Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and Poison Jab in particular are very useful for this thing, being able to hit some of the Pokemon that can take its stab moves. For weaknesses, it would like to have more speed, that's for sure. Its speed's not bad, but it's not great for an offensive Pokemon, and as a result, it does have the ability to get forced out by a lot of the faster Pokemon. Another weakness is that it often relies on high jump kick, and if you play competitive Pokemon, you know you hate having to click that move. A lot of times it can run Drain Punch, but more often than not, you're going to have high jump kick as the move you probably click the most with this thing. And it's a nuke, but with the ability to miss and just take that chunk off your health, or even hit ghosts and take that chunk off your health, it's not the most lovely move you want to have to rely on there. And another thing is you only have so many opportunities to get it in. Because Medicham is not really switching in on too many things, you need to rely often on Volt Turn and or making double switches to get Medicham in. There aren't too many natural opportunities aside from those to get it in. So while it does hit incredibly hard, you have to find a way to get it in on the battle. And viable sets here, Fake Out plus 3 attacks, usually High Jump Kick, Zen Headbutt, and Ice Punch is a very viable set. Then there's Dual Priority, which is usually High Jump Kick, Zen Headbutt, Fake Out, and Bullet Punch. Then there's Dual Stab plus Bolt Beam, which is High Jump Kick, Zen Headbutt, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. And Bulky Cham, this thing has a respectable bulk and a pretty good defensive typing, so a lot of times people want to throw some HP on this to give it the ability to take some hits and let it unleash some more hits with that bulk. And for value, of course, it's always a tier 1, and it's going to run you in a points league about 16 to 18 points. Now up here I have Tapu Koko and Weavile. Tapu Koko is very nice because it boosts Thunder Punch, but also it just kind of represents a Volt Turn. Having a Volt Turner to get Medicham in is very nice. Weavile is a great Pursuit Trapper, which you love to pair with Mega Medicham. You get rid of the Psychics, you get rid of the Ghosts, and then Medicham can kind of go off. It also helps with flying types that kind of help deal with Medicham, but they're not the best answer to Medicham usually. So next up I have number 4, and at number 4 on my list of the top 5 megas, I have Mega Charizard X. And when Charizard evolves into Mega Charizard X, it gains the ability Tough Claws, which boosts contact moves power, it gains attack, it gains defense, it gains special attack even, and it gets the much better defensive typing Fire and Dragon, and it's also much better offensive typing. So it gets, you take a Pokemon that's what, PU, in the PU tier, maybe NU, and you make it very viable in OU and one of the, in fact, by my ranking, the number 4th best Mega in Draft League. So let's talk a little bit more about this Pokemon. Strengths, great typing as I mentioned. You can eat hits. It's a good answer to electric types, and not many things eat both dragon moves and fire moves. It has setup options with, of course, the much more commonly used Dragon Dance, but also Sword Stance and Belly Drum. It has a respectable bulk. We go back 111 defense and a not too bad 85 special defense with that typing. That's a pretty damn good bulk. And it has versatility. A lot of people sleep on Charizard X's versatility because of how threatening it is as a Dragon Dance sweeper. But this thing can be a pretty decent wall. You can do a few different things with it, different setup options. It's actually surprisingly versatile. You even have that 130 special attack, which is the same as Latios. You're probably not going to run it special attacking, but you do have that option if you want to. And weaknesses, Massive Rock Weakness 1, Massive Rock Weakness 2. The first weakness to rock and the second weakness to rock. You do not... really, that's the worst weakness you can have in competitive Pokemon, a weakness to rocks, because if you bring this thing in on Stealth Rock and you haven't Mega Evolved yet, you're at half your health and you have to Roost up right away, and that is terrible. That's pretty much the one thing that's holding this Pokemon back. If it wasn't a rock weakness, I think it would definitely be much higher on this list, maybe even at the top spot, frankly. It's just such a crutch to be weak to rock type. That is the one type you cannot be weak to. And it comes in at a 4-time weakness to rock. And another weakness, it's not a huge deal, but it does have less than stellar stab options. A lot of times you're gonna have to rely on Dragon Claw and Fire Punch because the recoil damage from Flare Blitz can get pretty annoying when you're trying to sweep with a more offensive variant. And Outrage is always a move you hate locking into because of that 3 turns you're stuck using it. It's just not the perfectly ideal options. It's not too bad, but it's definitely a weakness. I mean, it could be doing better there. And viable sets, Dragon Dance Roost is a common one, usually with Flare Blitz and Dragon Claw. And then there's Dragon Dance Earthquake, which has Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Dragon Dance. There's Bulky Dragon Dance, which can be... it can basically just be the same dual stab. This one's more likely to run Fire Punch than Flare Blitz, but it could be either. And you just have a deal of HP while running the same moves. And then there's Wisp Roost, which is usually Will-O-Wisp, Roost. You can run either Swords Dance or Dragon Dance or just dual stabs there. It's kind of your choice when you're running with that. And then there's sets like Belly Drum and Swords Dance. Usually Belly Drum will run Flame Charge, so you get that big attack boost and you can also boost your speed. And its value is a tier 1, of course. All these are going to be tier 1s, but I just put it there regardless. It's going to cost you 17 or 18 points generally. And 2 Pokemon you may want to pair it with. Skarmory is always nice to get rid of Stealth Rocks. It also deals with Rock types and Ground types, which is nice for Charizard. Charizard also deals with Fire types and Electric types for Skarmory. So Skarmory and Charizard just have phenomenal synergy. And you may also look at a bulky water type like Slowbro to, again, take on ground types, take on rock types. And Charizard will beat the electrics and beat the grasses for them. So the next one at number 3, we have Mega Lopunny. And in the timeless words up here of Inmate Unger, he's so fast, he makes fast people look not fast. And Mega Lopunny has a ton of speed and even more attack. When Lopunny Mega evolves into Mega Lopunny, it gains the fighting type ability, it gains the ability Scrappy, and it gains a ton of speed. Actually, interestingly, both above 90 in its defense and special defense. That's pretty respectable. I've definitely seen a lot of people try to use Cosmic Power Mega Lopunny, but I will argue until the bitter end that that set is garbage. But some people swear by it, so that's just my opinion on the matter. And let's talk more about this. Strengths, fast, super fast. And it has great stab options. It has return and high jump kick, which will usually run, sometimes Drain Punch, and that hits hard. I love running Retaliate on Mega Lopunny, which does 140 power, Scrappy boosted. Well, not boosted, but you're not bringing Ghosts in on it. Scrappy is huge for this thing because both its types are resisted by Ghost. And you get to high jump kick Ghost without taking half your health, and that is huge. Because that is the biggest crutch of high jump kick, having to predict if a Ghost is going to come in or not and fearing that. So being able to hit them is massive. And yep, I mean really fast. You get up to 405 if I'm not mistaken, which is great. especially for something that hits as hard as this does. You can really clean with this. And weaknesses, almost every team is going to have a physically defensive wall that can deal with this. So you're going to have to wear some things down before Lopunny can do the work usually. And I like to say Lopunny will usually either do everything or nothing, and that's why I have it here at number 3 instead of at the top spot. It's either going to just smash through a team or get hard-walled by something. Another thing is Protect can be everywhere. Anything can have Protect to kind of hit the high jump kick. And it is fairly predictable. I mean, generally you're going to know what a Lopunny is going to be doing against you. Maybe it can hit you off guard with a sub encore or something like that, but generally you're going to be knowing about what it's going to do, and you're going to know what your answers to it are. And for viable sets, there's Fake Out plus 3 attacks, which are usually High Jump Kick, Return, and Ice Punch. There's a Power Up Punch, which usually will run High Jump Kick, Return, and either Quick Attack or Ice Punch in the last move. Then there's Dual Priority, which is Return, High Jump Kick again, and Fake Out plus Quick Attack. And then the Sink and Run Baton Pass sets, which are usually Substitute Baton Pass, sometimes Cosmic Power Baton Pass, with... It can run really anything. You can see Toxic on there, you can see both Encore and Cosmic Power if you want. And probably Drain Punch, maybe High Jump Kick would be the most common attack on it. And its value is tier 1, gonna be about 17 or 18 points. And up here I have Hoopa Unbound, which either Hoopa Unbound or any real stall breaker, because generally you're gonna have to punch through some walls before Lopunny is gonna clean, and it's nice to have a Pokemon like Hoopa that can just shit on walls, for lack of a better word. And Fortress, which really just represents any sort of hazard stacking. Lopunny is really good with spikes and rocks, and if you get those up, it makes it a lot easier for Lopunny to clean. And next up will be my number 2 slot. At number 2, we have Mega Venusaur. And this is a Pokemon I think generally I tend to be higher up on than most people. For me, I've used Venusaur a ton, and this Pokemon, I will swear, is the most consistent Pokemon in Draft League. No Pokemon does a good amount in a higher percentage of the battles it participates in than Mega Venusaur. And this thing is just a fat monstrosity. When it evolves into Mega Venusaur, it gains a lot of bulk, some special attack, and the ability Thick Fat, which negates 2 of its weaknesses in Ice and Fire, which is just massive, especially for something as bulky as this. And let's talk a little bit more about this. Strength, fat. Yep, it is fat. It munches hits. And another strength, it's also quite strong. I mean, looking back, 122 special attack. It hits pretty hard. I mean, an 100 attack's not too bad either. It hits respectably hard. Sleep Powder is very nice because a lot of the things that'll switch in on this, if they're not safety goggles, do not like taking a Sleep Powder. Anything sleep related is just a busted move, frankly. And of course, as I mentioned, the ability negates 2 of its major weaknesses. Some of its weaknesses are that it has to rely on Synthesis, and that is kind of crappy because A, Synthesis only has 8 PP, and B, Synthesis is weakened by weathers like sand and rain and hail, so not having as reliable of Recover as something like, of course, Recover or Soft Boil does hurt it compared to some other walls. And another weakness is that you have to omit strong offensive options to take a defensive Mega like Mega Venusaur. A lot of the best offensive options in Draft League are your Megas, and you have to pass on one of the offensive options to grab Venusaur here. And my roommate is being super loud. I hope you guys don't hear that, but there's some sort of sound going on in there, so if I get distracted or kind of choke up my words, that's what's going on there. Viable sets, you can see this thing run Physically Defensive, which is its main set. Often you'll see Leech Seed, Synthesis, and Leech Seed can be replaced with Sleep Powder on that, and then generally Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb or Hidden Power. I can run an offensive set either with or without speed. Often can just be modest with HP, and that's just to make the thing hit pretty damn hard with Sludge Bomb and Giga Drain Hidden Powers. Again, using that pretty damn good special attack stat it has. Especially defensive, another great option for this. Can definitely wall things on the special side, although its typing's a little bit better for the physical side walling. And Subseed's a very real set. You can run Substitute, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and either a coverage move or maybe even want to have Synthesis on that. And for value, again, tier 1, you're gonna wind up spending 16 to 18 points on this thing. You're gonna want to pair it with a good steel type to take on its flying and psychic weaknesses. And again, we have Weavile here, and that's gonna be a recurring theme for Megas, interestingly enough. Weavile Pursuit traps a lot of the psychics that come in on this thing, and it also beats flying types, which give Venusaur trouble. And before we move on to our number 1 Mega, let's talk about some honorable mentions. And Mawile, Latios, I talked to them a little bit at the front, both great Megas, but I omitted them because they're not always allowed. They're often banned, so I didn't put them on this list, but they're both great. Latios in particular, I love using. Mawile, I've been hitting the OU ladder with quite a bit, actually. Very good Pokemon. Charizard Y is a pretty good Mega, and these are in no particular order, I should mention. Charizard Y, very good Pokemon, hits real hard. It's pretty hard to wall in Draft League format. Mega Diancie, that's a great Mega. Has an awesome offensive typing and great stab options in Diamond Storm and Moonblast. Can hit from the physical or special side, and most often both. Mega Pinsir is a little bit of a nuke. You kind of hate taking that frustration, and after Swords Dance, it is a pretty nice priority in an Aerial 8 quick attack. Mega Scizor is a big public favorite. It's not my favorite to use, just because I don't like really bulky Pokemon with a 4x weakness. I can take a 4x weakness better on offensive mons, but when it's a bulkier Pokemon that you're kind of building your team around, it's a little bit hard to deal with. But there's no denying Scizor is a very good Pokemon, and you can see it doing quite a bit in quite a few leagues. And number 1, we have Mega Gallade, and Mega Gallade has had quite the rise this generation because it was not very commonly used in the last generation. And it gets a nice 165 attack boost when it well, not a boost, it gets a nice boost to 165 attack when it megas. It gets a speed increase to 110. It gets a boost on its physical defense, which used to be its Achilles heel, which is very nice for the thing. And unfortunately, it gets Steadfast, which is a pretty crappy ability, but otherwise there's so many great things about this Pokemon. And let's talk about it a little bit. Strengths, incredible coverage. Leaf Blade, Thunder Punch, Knockoff, Ice Punch, Earthquake. I can just go on and on. This thing has so many coverage options that just make it really hard to deal with. It has both power and speed, which is incredible for a nice offensive Pokemon, especially when you pair that with the respectable bulk it does have in 95 defense, 115 special defense. This thing can take hits, and you combine that with speed and attack, it's a threat. And I talked about this a little bit with Medicham, but Psychic Fighting is just a great typing. It's great defensively, it's great offensively, and it has setup options which are really nice with Bulk Up and Sword Stance. And you can throw Shadow Sneak on there. It becomes a threat, this thing. Weaknesses. It definitely has the weakness of being too perfect. It doesn't have a good ability. I guess that would kind of count as a little bit of a weakness in its performance. And it's a bit oddly designed. Glade, so you may want to hold that against it. It has those weird, really skinny arms and those odd hips, but there's not too much to criticize with its stats, its coverage, its performance. And viable sets, SD 3 attacks generally going to be its favorite. Often it's going to have close combat, Zen Headbutt, and Ice Punch, or Knockoff, or maybe even Shadow Sneak. And then there's Fast Bulk Up, which will run generally Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, and either Ice Punch, some sort of coverage move, or even, again, Shadow Sneak. It's 4 attacks is a very viable option, which you'll see generally have Close Combat, Zen Headbutt, Shadow Sneak, and a coverage move. And then there's Will-O-Wisp, which is a pretty interesting set. You can go in a bunch of different directions with Will-O-Wisp. You can run even a Wish Wisp set. You can run Wisp, Sword Stance, Wisp, even Bulk Up. A lot of different directions you can go with Wisp. And then there's Bulky Bulk Up, which I guess is a little funny sounding. Generally, this one will run quite a bit of special defense or HP and just set up and get really fat. And then there's the Wish set, which will often run Wish and either Protect or Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, and potentially a coverage move, or both, or it could have both Protect and Drain Punch. And its value's been increasing steadily as of late. You're gonna find it going from about 15 to 18 points, and that just continues to go up its price because people are starting to realize that this Pokemon is really good in Draft League. And Weavile's been here 3 times, but it's just a great Pokemon to pair with Glade. Takes on the Psychic types, takes on Ghost types, takes on Flying types. A lot of the types that give Glade issues, it's able to take on. And a Pursuit Trapper with a Psychic Fighting type is just massive. And I have Fortress again here. Hazard's very nice with Glade. You get up Hazards, and then this thing becomes even harder to deal with. And here we reach our conclusion, and that was our list there. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed this. If you do, smash that like, hit that subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Working on that grind right now. And I want to see what your guys' favorite megas are. You got a favorite mega? You have a list? Maybe you have a story about using a mega? I would love to hear it. I got nothing but time. And feel free to comment any questions you have. If you have any questions about this list, maybe what mega to draft for league you're in or anything like that, I'm happy to answer them. And that's going to be it for this video. I really want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good day.